From the meditative horse, your left hand remains open, it's the scholar, and your right hand closed, it's the warrior. As you move forward into battle through a twist and then cat stance, those two forces join together. You show your opponent your weapon. They go back to back as you pull that strength into you, show you have no weapons, reach to a source higher than yourself through the trilogy of mind, body, and spirit. Draw that strength into you and then hide your weapon from your opponent. Notice that when you reach from above, you actually pull your hands closer into you as you wind up into the prayer position, asking for forgiveness for what you're about to do to them. From the horse stance inward blocks, this thrusting motion comes off your hip and crosses the center line of your body. The blocking areas from the hammer fist down to the elbow, and the line of execution is a 45-degree angle out from each shoulder. When blocking the outside of a punch, we'd start at the wrist and slide up to the elbow to check the elbow. Where the weapon meets the target at a right angle is called an angle of incidence, like our technique, attacking mace. Where the weapon meets the target at something other than a right angle is called an angle of impact. We'd never round the corner going to the outside of a punch because, as you can see from here, the elbow is open to collapse toward the face. I could check a line on a line and have that elbow, except from this angle you can see there's no room for error above or below that line. And as you can see in typical Kenpo fashion, our defense becomes an offense extending that line. Inward hammering blocks follows the same idea, just continuing the motion on a downward hammering move, like the first move of our technique, delayed sword. Vertical outward blocks cross the center line and then move to the outside of the center line, about to the level of the shoulder, but in tight with your elbow against the ribs on the 3 and 9 o'clock line. Extended outward blocks start with the same idea, move farther away from your body, as well as away to the front, moving to the inside of a circular strike like the first move of shielding hammer. Upward blocks move on that vertical line. About the height of your eyes, the elbow kicks out, creating an angle of deflection, so anything coming down would slide off that angle of deflection to a zone of sanctuary. Downward blocks, using the hammer fist and outside of the forearm, small circles, just stopping at the outside of the hip. Downward inward blocks with the palm down, using the inside of the forearm and crossing the center line. Downward inward blocks, palm up, using the outside of the forearm but still crossing the center line. Inward parries, a triangular move guiding the energy just past your face. This angle of deflection moves the energy behind you and just past your ear. Outward parries have the same idea, gathering the energy and moving it past and behind you, but this time using the back of your hand. Inward-outward parry combinations to the outside of reversing mace show how both these ideas work. Upward parries guide the energy up and then back over the top of your head. Heel palm checks down in front of the groin. An inside downward circle, hand ending up about one hand's width away from the body. There are 4 types of switches. This is a front to back switch, moving the rear leg to the front and then to the back. This is a back to front switch, moving to the back leg first and then returning. This is a hop switch. Both legs move simultaneously, and remember, in all switches you don't go forward or back, you just change your orientation. Here we have the twist switch. Your lead leg moves a third of the way back and you thread your knee through the 2 angles created by the bend in the front leg. There are 4 kinds of shuffles. This is a push drag, where your lead leg pushes forward or back and the other leg drags behind it. This is a step drag. Lead leg makes a deliberate step and the other leg drags back to position. This is a drag step. The rear leg drags into position and the other leg follows. And finally, a pull drag. where the weight of the lead leg throws you in either the forward or backward direction, and the other leg drags back into position. Step throughs, forward or reverse. Now we're moving forward or back, always remaining in a neutral bow. Remember, the neutral bow is the only stance in Kenpo. All the other stances are transitory. Rear crossover moving forward takes you at a 45-degree angle, and a front crossover takes you back on that same angle in reverse. A front crossover moving forward takes you straight into the 12 and 6 o'clock line, and a rear crossover moving backward takes you back on that same line. Your twist stance should be deep enough and low enough so that when you unwind, you wind up facing a neutral bow in the other direction. This is a cover maneuver. The area behind you is considered the darkness, outside of your peripheral vision. You always take the lead leg and move away from the darkness. If you can't, there's two ways to deal with that: C-step around or cat back. These two techniques were chosen because you'll experience them in later forms. There are four ways to cover a line: on the line, over the line, on top of the line, and cancel the line. Okay, let's start with making a fist. Roll your index finger in first, all the way in tight, and cross your thumb over your index finger only. Turn your wrists out slightly so that you're going to be striking with the first two knuckles only, the longest bones in the hand. We'll start with thrusting punches. Inverted at your side, they turn over to the horizontal position. Next are snapping punches. They come back faster than they go out from the guard position. When we punch below the shoulder, we can keep our hand in a horizontal position. When you go above your shoulder, you have to turn to a vertical position to stay in contact with just those two knuckles. Back knuckle strikes now, striking with the back part of the same two knuckles. Uppercut punches are next, rolling from the same hip to the opposite shoulder. Notice the complete torque of the shoulders for the source of power for this strike. Hook punches are next, a very small, tight circle. You're actually going to make contact with the target on the way down or the downside of the circle as your hand returns. Roundhouse punches are a much bigger circle. You're going to attempt to make contact to the target on the way up or the upside of the circle. Hammer fist strikes now, the meaty part of the hand between the little finger and the wrist after you ball it up into a fist. Inward horizontal elbows. Collapse your elbow in completely to make the impact area a compact unit. Downward inward elbows. Your hand opens and turns palm away, and as you drop down with your elbow strike, your hand turns and torques into that position. Upward elbows. Same collapsing of the elbow completely into your bicep to make a compact unit. Half fist strike, not as strong as a regular fist, so usually it's used only for a soft tissue target. A three-finger thrust, now this is a very soft weapon, so it would definitely only go to a soft tissue target like the eyes or the throat. Inward hand sword, chopping to the outside of the neck, using the meaty part of the hand between the little finger and the wrist. Outward hand swords are next. You're going to strike with the same part of the hand, but imagine striking to the other side of the neck. Thrusting heel palm, they start from the hip inverted, torque over, and you're hitting with the muscular part of the palm of your hand, usually to the nose or to the face. A raining claw is the same idea. You start with hitting the heel palm, and then as your hand descends down, you use your fingernails to scratch and claw. Finger whips are next. The back of your fingernails are the actual weapon. Your hand remains closed and then opens just before target impact. Let's start with a front kick from the rear leg. Your knee chambers up, you fire the kick straight forward, pointing your foot, curling your toes back so you make impact with the ball of your foot. All of these kicks could be return to point of origin or step through. Drag up, front ball kick. Same idea here. You're just dragging your rear leg up to support your weight so you can shoot the kick from the front leg. Roundhouse kick with the rear leg comes through just like a front kick. Pivot all the way around on your lead foot. A circular strike. We're using the ball of our foot for impact here. Drag up roundhouse kick, same idea, still using the ball of our foot, but for either kick you could point your foot and use the instep. Side kick with the rear leg. Knee comes straight up, turns over to the side. Pivot again on your supporting leg. Turn your ankle down so you kick with the blade of your foot. The same idea here with a drag up maneuver, kicking with the blade of your foot. Spinning back kick. Step across the line, gives you a straight line to shoot the kick, pulling your foot back so you hit only with the heel of your foot. This is a drag up back kick. You have to turn all the way back around to a reverse cat stance because remember you have to have your knee and your toe facing the ground to have it be a back kick. Again, contact with your heel. This is a drag up hook kick using a circular motion and striking with the heel of the lead leg. Drag up reverse kick. Semicircle, so imagine going around your opponent's defenses and striking either to the face or the midsection with the instep of your foot. Rear crossover back kick. Notice that in order to hit that 12 o'clock target, how far you have to bring that rear leg all the way around. Turn your back to execute the kick and come out. Now front crossover side kick. Your hips are already in the right position with a front crossover to move directly at 12 o'clock. Okay, let's begin with a training horse. 4-foot maneuvers, take your feet slightly wider than shoulders. Bend your knees out and hands against your side to stabilize your base. Left hand over right takes us to the meditating horse. This is the scholar covering the warrior, where you concentrate and clear your mind for the day's training. Next, let's go to the neutral bow, the most important stance in Kenpo. In this case, left toes go on the 12 and 6 o'clock line and the right heel on that same line, thus establishing the width of your stance. Once that's done, a comfortable bend in your knees establishes the height, elbows in to check your ribs. Drop your rear knee down to the line of the front heel to establish the depth of your stance. Now let's shift and go to a directional forward bow. 60% of your weight on the front leg, and the rear foot turns directly on that 12 and 6 o'clock line, locking the leg, and your rear heel is called the bracing angle to push off for power of this stance. Next, a reverse bow, 40% on the front leg, a defensive and offensive stance just like everything else in Kenpo. Back to the neutral. Draw back to a cat stance, only 10% on the front leg. A very unstable stance, but you can really see the value of being able to kick quickly with your front leg. Now we're going to shift and go to a reverse cat stance. Once again, 10% on the front leg, but again you can see the value of being able to quickly kick from that lead leg. Back to the neutral bow, we'll drop to a close kneel stance. Your knee should be about one hand's width up off the ground. Back to a neutral, now we'll go to a wide kneel stance. Once again, you want to think that your knee is going to be approximately one hand's width up off the ground. Back up to the neutral stance, and let's move on. We'll start with the elevator sweep from the closed guard. Open your guard, push back, work your leg inside, pull their weight back, elevate them, and then sweep over. Then you slide into the closed guard of your training partner. Same drill. Up, elevate, roll over, and stay low as you come over on top. Reverse back again. Make sure you pull their weight back up over you to help flip them over. Scissor sweep is next. You need to get some distance between you and your opponent, so you'll pop your hips, create an opening, and work your knee underneath. Then you can scissor sweep and stay low as you come across. Pull their weight back over. Leg sweep drill. Great Kenpo move. Bottom of your rear foot hits the front of the shin of your opponent. Check the arm down and move. This is why I wear cowboy boots every time I go out at night. We'll start with our striking board drills. Horizontal punch below, focusing on first two knuckles only, and vertical punch above, and then pick it up. Parry block drill. Parry the punch out, check the elbow, then push the elbow away and punch. Left, right, always against the right punch. The first two moves bring the energy in, and the next two push it away, and then you pick it up. And as you can guess, the other side. Our figure 8 drill is next. Your rear hand slaps the lead punch out of the way, picks up the outside of the right cross, traps it, brings it across. You check the elbow with a darting mace, extend that line with a vertical punch to the face. Stay in the neutral bow for the last punch, but turn your shoulders slightly to increase the impact value. Charging maces drill. The open hand becomes the face of your opponent, and the lead hand is the same one you need to check down so you don't step into a left punch. Finish with a right shin kick to the inside of the back leg and pick it up. Jab cross hook, forward bow on the cross punch, lock the rear leg, full torque for the hook. Come up on the ball of the front foot for your hook punch that brings your hips and shoulders all the way around. Fully working the width zone. Now we're going to add a step through punch, spinning back knuckle, and finish with a hook. Center line balance, control the width zone, maximum torque. We'll start with a skip kick, classic Kenpo kind of a move, to the groin, shoulders stay level. It's a pull drag shuffle with a kick. Now roundhouse kick to the leg. Full body commitment. Pivot all the way around on the support leg. Here we're doing a step round kick. Much more powerful. Double round kick drill. Use this move in one of our techniques. Full body torque and commitment. Single round kick, full power into the bag. Shoulder and hip torque all the way around, and step forward. Front thrusting ball kick. Step through, commit the hips, total body weight through the kick. Step forward in a neutral bow. Same idea here in the side kick. Torque and turn your hips. Step forward in a neutral bow, ready to move on. Rear crossover back kick. Classic Kenpo move. Travel a great distance. Super powerful kick. Same idea here. Full body commitment. Front crossover side kick. Stepping forward, neutral bow, ready to move on. This spinning stiff-legged kick we use to teach ourselves the dynamic of spin kicking. Upper body first, and let the leg follow from the power work. Two-stage action. Now we'll use that theory here. Spinning hook kick, full body commitment all the way around. The harder you throw your arms, the more powerful the kick. Now we'll spin further, drop the hips, and do a spinning crescent kick. Spinning back kick. Very, very powerful and common Kenpo kick. You don't see the target when you make contact because you use the principle of guidelining, brushing one knee past the other.